Welcome back to Formal Fitness, everybody. I am your host, Jim Danby. And I know what you're thinking. Why is he so dressed up? Well, I am in my white tie because we are going to the ball. The kettlebell ball, that is. Now, if you've been following my kettlebell series, we've already discussed biceps, triceps, and chest. Now we're moving on to back. Okay, so I've got my 10s here. And I feel like that's an appropriate weight for the exercises I'm about to be doing. And let's get started. I'm going to start with some rows. I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see what I'm doing. We want a slight bend in the knee, and we're going to lean forward as far as we can, getting a nice stretch in that lower back, and then we're just going to come up. You want those shoulders to come up, not so much back, but straight up and toward the shoulders. On a nice 2 count, up for 2, down for 2. Again, looking for those 12 to 15 reps. And one more for good measure. Ooh. Okay. Now we're going to alternate right and left. Slight bend in the knees, come forward as far as you can, nice stretch in that lower back, and let's get started. Up for 2, down for 2. And both sides is a full rep. So right, left, that is a complete rep. Again, we're looking for that 12 to 15 reps. You should really be feeling it between the shoulder blades here. We want to get a nice good stretch, a nice good workout to that upper back. And one more for good measure. Whew, nice. Now I'm going to grab my 15 here, and we're going to do a nice workout, a nice stretch for our lower back here. So we're going to hold the 15 in front, and I'm going to go from the side so you can see what I'm doing here. We're just going to lean forward, go down as far as you can, and come back up on a 2 count, down for 2, up for 2. Make sure we're breathing. And again, we're looking for that 12 to 15 reps. Make sure you're engaging your core when you come back up. A tight core is good for the lower back. And one more for good measure. Okay. Now this time, we're going to go down for 3 and come up on 1. 1, 2, 3. Down, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, make sure we're keeping that core engaged. A tight core is good for the lower back, and you should feel it. You're going to feel it in the back of your quads, those hamstrings, all the way up to the lower back, and you should feel it in front here in the lower abs as well. So we're getting a nice, good workout, a good stretch all over. And one more for good measure. Oh, nice. Okay, now this time we're going to go down, and as we come up, we're going to lean back and extend that stretch further up the back. So we go down for 2, 1, 2, up for 2, back, down for 2, up for 2, back. Make sure we're getting a nice extension as we come up. Again, we're looking for that 12 to 15 reps. And one more for good measure. Woo. All right, done with the 15. Alright, back to the 10s. I've just got one here. Palm facing forward. And again, I'm going to turn to the side so you can kind of get a better look at what I'm doing here. Keeping the arm straight, we're just going to go all the way back as far as you can on a 2 count. Up for 2, down for 2. Keep that fluidity in the wrist. We're not working the wrist here. We want to keep the wrist loose. And we just want to go straight back. You're really going to feel it in the upper back where the shoulder connects to the back. And all through here, you should really be feeling it. We're getting a good stretch in there. Again, looking for that 12 to 15 reps. And one more for good measure. Alright, now we're going to switch sides. Always do on the opposite side what we do on the first. Keeping that fluidity in the wrist. Again, looking for that 12 to 15 reps. On a nice 2 count. Up for 2, down for 2. Making sure we keep that arm perfectly straight. Oh, nice. Okay, this time we're going to come up, down, we're going to switch arms. Again, making sure we're heading up on that 2 count, 1, 2, and then just pass it over. Both sides is a full rep, so that right there, that is a full rep. And again, we're looking for 12 to 15 reps. Making sure we keep that arm perfectly straight. I know we're passing the weight off, but we want to make sure we maintain form as we go across. One more for good measure. All right. Whew. Back to the right arm. This time we're going to go back and we're going to pulse up, and we're going to stay up, and we're going to go double time. So that's twice the reps. So I'm just going to get a nice deep breath, and I'm going to go up, and then we're going to stay up. Make sure you keep that fluidity in the wrist. You don't want that tight wrist. We're just working that back muscle right around the shoulder. And just a nice light pulse. Pulse up. You're going to start to feel fatigued. That's when you take a deep breath and you just exhale through the fatigue. And one more for good measure. Whew. Okay, switch sides. Get a nice deep breath. And pulse. Keep that arm straight. Make sure there's fluidity in the wrist. Deep breath through that fatigue. And one more for good measure. Whew. Okay. Okay, to the floor. I've got my 10s here. I'm going to put those in front of me like so. And we're going to come all the way down to the floor. And just stretch out for a second. Get a nice good stretch there in the lower back. Now, I'm just going to take one of these for now. And we're going to lift the weight up with our whole arms. And at the same time, we're going to kick the legs back. But we're not kicking from the knees. We're lifting all the way here from the inner thigh. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a nice good stretch in that lower back. And we're also going to get a little bit of a stretch here in our core. And it's going to really strengthen our lower back. And we're just going to go in a nice 2 count, up for 2, down for 2. Up, down, up 2, down 2. And try to come up as far as you can. The goal is to get those thighs off the ground. Again, we're looking for 12 to 15 reps. And one more for good measure. Okay, now we're going to come back to that 10. This time we're going to come up with our arms and our legs, and we're going to pulse. Get a nice deep breath. This one is going to be a really, really big workout. Okay. Pulse. Try to keep those legs up off the ground and those arms. We're going double time. And one more for good measure. Ooh. Ooh. Stretch it out. Pull those arms as far up as you can. Point those toes. Come up into a nice child's pose. Okay. Alright, I've got my 10s again. One last exercise for you guys. We're going to turn the legs to the side, and we're just going to lean all the way over as far as we can on a nice 2 count and come back up. And we're going to alternate sides. This is really working the obliques, but we're also getting a good stretch here on the side of our lower back here. And again, each side counts as a full rep, so that's 1 full rep. Again, looking for that 10 to 12 rep mark. And one more for good measure. Okay, set one of these babies down. We're going to start with the left side this time. And we're just going to come down and do a nice pulse up. Let's go all the way down and pulse up. Double time. Make sure you're going all the way down so you get that good stretch back in here. And one more for good measure. Whew. Switch sides. Right this time, come all the way down and pulse. Make sure we're coming all the way down with that good stretch in here. Double time. Always do on the other side the same exercises. The others, so everything builds together. And one more for good measure. Whew. All right, that is our kettlebell back. Now, as with the other videos, I always like to end with stretching. It's good to stretch out all the muscles you worked so you don't wake up with that fatigue the next morning where you can hardly move. So I'm just going to show you a few back stretches. First, we're just going to get a nice extension here, lean forward, go down as far as you can, get a nice good stretch through those upper quads and through the lower back. And hold that for a good 10 to 15 seconds, 20 seconds. And then come up slowly, engage that core as you come up. And we're going to kick our leg back slightly. So we're kind of standing at an angle, and we're going to take our arms, palms facing forward, and we're just going to come straight back. Lift those arms as high as you can. You're going to get a nice stretch there in the upper back between the shoulder blades. A good 15 to 20 seconds. And come down, switch legs, and up again. Okay. And as always, I always like to end with a big deep breath. Up. And just let it all out. And there we go. Back. Until next time.